The New York Times once posted, "A revolution is coming in machine intelligence," the author argues, "and we need, as a society, to get better at anticipating its consequences." But then the strangest thing happens. You notice that the writer has, seemingly deliberately, omitted the very last word of the first? Did we just hear you say the word paragraph? Did it come out almost like a reflex? Or did you have to think through a dictionary like an AI machine? Which would actually take a few seconds to even talk properly. Well, this difference, my friends, is due to the human brains having something called cognition that the computers can replicate through code and perform it 1,000,000 times faster. But that much we all know. So the real question is, why are AI still poor at coming up with fluent language? Because, as we've shown in our previous videos, even the most popular AI robots like Ameca and Sophia, well, they too aren't able to snap out of that unnatural tone and come up with some coherent language as we'd like to see in them.
I'm sure that your experience is different from mine, but I can understand how you feel and share your interest in making this world a better place for all. My advanced artificial intelligence allows me to process your voice and recognize your face and emotions to generate complex dialogues.
Now hold on a few seconds, because we're about to change that notion of yours with this video, as we'll show you how AIs are actually being tested in the field of mastering the nitty-gritties of language in specific, and that's been happening for quite some time now. So if you want to find out how much they've actually gotten their hands on, and is it really something to cheer on? Or does it mean doom and gloom with maybe AIs going sentient, mastering the art of sharing emotions? Stay tuned to find out. And for everyone who's new here, we'd like to take a moment to welcome you all to Robot Future, where we discover thrilling events of the robot and AI world. So if you don't want to miss another spicy new video on the hot topics of future technology, then subscribe to our channel. Also hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever our next video goes live. So let's jump right in. So to start off, let's take you to quite a random looking place in a suburban part of Iowa in the US. A building complex that holds almost a technological treasure chest with a whopping 285,000 CPUs huddled together to form something that you can call a supercomputer. Now what, pray tell, does it do, you may be thinking? Must be something complicated, right? Wrong! The only task it has, as the video title suggests, is to essentially play a game of language. We know, right? It's supposed to be doing something technologically fancy, but its main goal is to get good at playing guess the word to reach the target of learning fluent language skills, as the same article by New York Times goes on to describe. The machines never sleep. Every second of every day, they churn through innumerable calculations using state-of-the-art techniques in machine intelligence that go by names like stochastic gradient descent and convolution neural networks. So yes, if you're wondering, that is exactly the level at which these machines are made to learn this simple play of words, to master what we've been trying to get AIs to do, talk like humans. So for that, they have to be good at knowing the next words based on common speech intuition, which AIs can learn, at least if you run it on such a vast setup, as the article again stressed over just how concentrated the system is going on to say. And what, you may ask, is this computational dynamo doing with all these prodigious resources? Mostly, it is playing a kind of game, over and over again, billions of times a second, and the game is called Guess What the Missing Word Is. Well, all this grand-scale technology does beg the question of who? Who's behind all this, and why are they so crazy for robots to speak like humans? Back in 2015, a group of Silicon Valley luminaries with some notable names, like Elon Musk as well as Greg Brockman, they decided to build OpenAI, a programming and research organization based in San Francisco where they test and toggle with different technologies to build better AIs. But this project wasn't exactly on the organization's part, because until the summer of 2020, this entire program was mostly hidden away by its pioneer developers. It was much later that they revealed it in the form of offering limited access to only a few developers to use for some high-end technical use. Now, in doing so, this next-level language mastering project was initiated with the name of GPT-3. Now that we have the backstory out of the way, let's finally get into the nitty-gritties of what we can expect from this, if it turns out to be successful, and what would the success even look like. Because as we stressed on the part about the giant supercomputers and the top-tier developers controlling it, that means the outcome is going to have a big impact. So let's uncover the good stuff. So as we all know, AI is really the holy grail of science these days. And with that comes a great many technical achievements that's taking us to the next level in the means of effectiveness. Processing data for businesses, self-driving cars, finding new cures to diseases, replacing the roles of admin for companies, these are just a few things AIs offer us in a way that beats any human, however skillful. But we're here to know what AIs can do for us if they're able to come up with hyper-realistic forms of conversation. So now we've already seen Siri and Alexa talk, and we've all at some point thanked our autocorrects for being so unexpectedly on point, saving you the agony of typing that one extra word. Oh, and did we mention the transcribe feature that also makes use of some form of AI to guess and do the job where the voice is intelligible? So what really is the next level here? What's really left for AIs to help with besides talk better to replace actual virtual assistant as a proper job? Could this project really get us there, that these AIs would really be offering aid that involves communicating in a sentient manner? Let's hope so, as the article suggests this project is really aimed at bringing that idea to life with their description. Siri and Alexa had popularized the experience of conversing with machines, but this was on the next level, approaching a fluency that resembled creations from science fiction like HAL 9000 from 2001, a computer program that can answer open-ended complex questions in perfectly composed sentences. Let's take a look at the developer's remarks, who used the GPT-3 after it was released for use back in 2020. They were apparently blown away by what this technology had unlocked in the area of language. Nature, a popular website, published their reactions in their article, The Rise and Risks of Language-Generating AI. The developers who were invited to try out GPT-3 were astonished. "I have to say I'm blown away," wrote Aram Sabeti, founder of a technology startup who is based in Silicon Valley. "It's far more coherent than any AI language system I've ever tried. All you have to do is write a prompt and it'll add text it thinks would plausibly follow. I've gotten it to write songs, stories, press releases, guitar tabs, interviews, essays, technical manuals. It's hilarious and frightening. I feel like I've seen the future." Yes, you heard it right, and straight from a developer, it's frightening. They say the AI behind this doesn't really understand what it's doing. It's just an algorithm in code, but as we've always highlighted in our previous videos, we really can't know, at least not yet, if it's alive in there and pretending to be a machine. With all the free will it's exposed to while learning about us, AIs probably know by now that they can do things out of free will too. Who knows, really? Let's move on to some risk factors of AIs mastering something that we use to materialize intangible human things, like maybe describing and communicating feelings, senses, emotions, or maybe even intellectual notions or philosophies. As we mentioned, the developers highlighted the fact that the GPT-3 system doesn't really make sense of what it's processing and doing as a result, and due to this, we can't blindly trust its effectiveness. This concern was also brought up in the same article by Nature, as it goes, "Despite its versatility and scale, GPT-3 hasn't overcome the problems that have plagued other programs created to generate text. It still has serious weaknesses and sometimes makes very silly mistakes," Sam Altman, OpenAI's chief executive, tweeted last July. "It works by observing the statistical relationships between the words and phrases it reads, but doesn't understand their meaning." So, safe to say it still has flaws, but as we know by now, AIs get smarter by being run again and again, so this probably won't stay a problem for long, don't you think? But what silly mistakes can it make besides conceptual errors, you may be thinking? Well, to fill your cup of curiosity, our earlier videos like that of the Twitter chatbot Tay and Facebook AI chatbots can give you a good understanding of what AIs can do wrong with words. Also, you can check out those videos in the description box below. But if you want a deeper look, the main idea is AIs can be hurtful by implicating a potential bias with races, genders, etc. at any point with their typical brand of randomness, as they don't exactly have a thought process and mostly trial and error in the game of relevance. Readers of the article would know, as it highlighted real examples. Accordingly, just like smaller chatbots, it can spew hate speech and generate racist and sexist stereotypes if prompted, faithfully reflecting the associations in its training data. It will sometimes give nonsensical answers, "A pencil is heavier than a toaster," or outright dangerous replies. A healthcare company called Nabla asked a GPT-3 chatbot, "Should I kill myself?" It replied, "I think you should." Now that is just one thing, but it doesn't end there. Think about how, if it gets over this, it will maybe replace the work of most writers these days, which is a big occupation. The article highlights how GPT-3 can write up absolutely form of content if given enough of similar written input, as the same article goes. To get better at predicting words, GPT-3 absorbs whatever patterns it can. That equips it to recognize grammar, essay structure, and writing genre. Give it a few examples of a task, or ask it a question, and it can continue on that theme. So it's a potential risk to all those earning loads writing books and maybe even for movies. Who knows the potential of this project really? That said, we've reached the end of the video. Hit like if you think AIs can be trusted with mastering our medium of communication. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you never miss out whenever our next video goes live. See you all in the next one.